My daughter-in-law turned my bedroom into a guest room while I was sleeping. My name is Betty Jean, and I am 56 years old, living right here in Columbus, Ohio, in the same house I have lived in for over 22 years. I want you to know that right from the start because everything I am about to tell you happened right here in my own home, in the home I own, in the home I paid for with my own two hands. And I need you to understand that before I say another word because what happened to me last week is something I am still processing, still feeling in my chest every single morning when I wake up. And I want you to have the full picture. I worked as a nurse for 31 years. 31 years. Night shifts, double shifts, 12-hour shifts that turned into 16, holidays away from my son, birthdays I missed, anniversaries that came and went while I was standing in a hospital hallway checking someone's vitals or holding someone's hand through something terrible. I gave that job everything I had, every bit of energy, every bit of patience, every bit of strength I could find in myself on the days I had nothing left. And I did it all as a single mother because Marcus, my son, his father left when Marcus was 4 years old and it was just the two of us from that point on. Just me and Marcus and whatever I could build for us. And I built a good life. I want to say that clearly. I bought this house here in Columbus when Marcus was 7. I remember the day I got the keys. I stood on the front porch and Marcus was running around in his little sneakers and I stood there holding those keys thinking we did it. This is ours. And I have been here ever since. 22 years in this house. And 6 years ago I made the very last mortgage payment and I sat at my kitchen table and I cried. Not sad crying. The good kind of crying. The kind that comes out when something you worked for so long and so hard finally belongs to you completely. This house is mine. Fully, completely, legally mine. I retired from nursing 3 years ago. My knees were not cooperating anymore and my doctor said, Betty Jean, you need to slow down, and I knew he was right. So I retired and I settled into my life here. My garden, my kitchen, my Sunday mornings with coffee and quiet. My house exactly the way I like it. I was genuinely at peace. Marcus had grown into a man I was proud of. He had a good job in sales, had his own apartment across town, and about 4 years ago he met a woman named Tanya. Within 6 months they were engaged. Within a year they were married. And I want to be honest with you, I tried with Tanya. I really genuinely tried. When Marcus first introduced us, I opened my arms and my heart to that woman because she was going to be my daughter-in-law and Marcus loved her and that was enough. But Tanya had a way about her that I noticed pretty quickly. Not in front of Marcus, she was careful about that. But when it was just the two of us, she had this tone. This way of saying things that felt like little cuts. One time I cooked a big Sunday dinner, spent hours on it, and she looked at the food and said, "Oh, this is very old-fashioned, like something from your generation." Another time I was telling her something about my years as a nurse and she was on her phone the entire time scrolling, not even pretending to listen. And she would come into my house and move things around in my kitchen, and when I said something about it she would laugh and say, "Betty Jean, I am just trying to help you. You are so sensitive." In my own kitchen. In my own house. But I kept quiet. I kept quiet because Marcus loves her and I was not going to be that mother-in-law who stirs up trouble. I smiled. I bit my tongue. I sent her birthday gifts and Christmas gifts and I invited them both to Sunday dinner every week. I told myself she just needs time. I gave her grace I am not sure she deserved, but I gave it anyway because that is the kind of person I am. Then about 8 months ago Marcus called me. He said, "Mom, Tanya and I are going through a bit of a rough patch financially, nothing we cannot handle. But we were wondering if we could come stay with you for a little while. Just a few months while we sort things out." And I said yes immediately. Of course I said yes. He is my son. This is his childhood home. You do not say no to your child when they need you, you just do not. So I said, "Come on home, both of you, stay as long as you need to, I have the space, you are my family." I set up the guest room beautifully for them. I bought brand new bedding. I cleared out the entire closet so they would have plenty of room. I put a small coffee maker in there so Tanya would have her morning coffee without having to come out to the kitchen if she did not feel like it. I wanted them to feel welcome. I wanted this to go smoothly. I was being a good mother and I thought maybe this will even bring Tanya and me closer. Maybe living together will help us understand each other better. But that is not what happened. Within 2 weeks the comments started again. Little ones at first. Things like "the house feels a bit cramped," or "I wish there was more natural light," or Betty Jean, a lot of women your age move into something smaller, more manageable, it would probably be easier for you. Your age. She kept coming back to my age like it was some kind of argument. Like being 56 meant I should start shrinking myself down and taking up less space. I smiled and I changed the subject every single time because I was still being the bigger person. I was still keeping the peace. But then I started noticing something. Tanya would walk past my bedroom door and slow down. She would stand in the doorway sometimes when she thought I was not looking, just standing there, looking around my room with this expression I can only describe as calculating. My master bedroom has big windows that get beautiful morning light, and it has an attached bathroom and a walk-in closet, and Tanya had clearly decided she wanted it. I could feel it, but I told myself I was imagining things. I told myself there was no way she would actually say something about it. About 3 weeks ago she sat down at my kitchen table and she said it. She said, "Betty Jean, I have been thinking, would it not make more sense for Marcus and me to have the master bedroom?" Just like that. Casual as anything, like she was asking to borrow a cup of sugar. And I looked at her and I said, "Tanya, that is my bedroom. I have slept in that room for 22 years. She said, "Yes, but Marcus and I need more space and the light is so much better in there and the attached bathroom would be so much more practical for us. And honestly, you do not really need all that space at your age. The guest room is perfectly comfortable." At your age? Again. I said no. I said it clearly and firmly and without any anger in my voice. I said, "No, Tanya, that is my bedroom and I am not moving out of it and this conversation is finished." She pushed a little and I said, "We are done discussing this," and I stood up and walked away. I thought she had heard me. I thought the message was received. And I was so wrong. Last Tuesday night I was exhausted. My knees had been aching all day, and after dinner I took some pain medication and I fell asleep much earlier than usual. I am talking deep, heavy sleep, the kind where the whole world disappears and you do not hear a single thing. I slept all the way through until about 5:30 in the morning and I started waking up slowly, that foggy kind of waking up where you are not quite there yet, where your brain is coming back online piece by piece. And the first thing I notice, even before I open my eyes all the way, is that something smells different. Not wrong exactly, just different. Like cleaning products and some kind of floral spray that is not anything I own. I open my eyes and I look at the ceiling and something feels off. I turn my head to reach for my water glass on my nightstand and my nightstand is not there. My nightstand that has been sitting in that spot for 15 years is simply not there. In its place is a small wooden table I have never seen before with a fake flower in a little vase sitting on top of it. I sit up. My heart is already going 9 fast. I look around the room and I cannot make sense of what I am seeing. My dresser gone. My rocking chair that my own mother gave me before she passed gone. The quilt at the foot of my bed that I have had for 15 years gone. My photographs on the wall gone. Everything that was mine in that room had been taken out while I was sleeping and replaced with these neutral, plain, impersonal pieces that made my bedroom look like a room in a budget hotel. They had walked in and out of my room moving my things while I was right there in the bed sleeping, and they had done it quietly enough that I never woke up. I sit there in my own bed in my own room and I feel something I do not have a word for. It is not just anger. It is something deeper than anger. It is the feeling of being erased. I get up. I walk right out into the hallway. I can hear movement coming from further down the hall. I walk toward the sound and I push open the door to what I immediately recognize as my master bedroom, and there is Tanya, standing right in the middle of my room, hanging up curtains. Her curtains. On my curtain rods. In my bedroom. And Marcus is sitting on the edge of my bed with his coffee mug, looking at the floor, looking anywhere but at me. And Tanya turns around and sees me standing there and she smiles. She actually smiles at me and says, "Good morning, Betty Jean. I figured since you were not really making the best use of the space, it just made more sense to go ahead and make the switch. I hope you like what we did with the guest room. I think it came out really cozy. I hope you like what we did with the guest room." I stand there and I look at her and I look at Marcus and I feel something settle in me. Something very calm and very clear and very final. I look at Marcus and I say, "Marcus, look at me right now." He looks up. I say, "Do you understand what happened here?" And Marcus, my son who I raised alone and sacrificed everything for, says, "Mom, it really does make more sense this way. Just give it a try. You will see it is actually better for everyone. Just give it a try. Better for everyone." While I am standing in the doorway of my own bedroom that someone moved into while I was unconscious. I do not yell. I do not cry. I turn around and I walk to the guest room and I look at what they have done with my things. My dresser is shoved into the corner. My rocking chair is pushed against the wall with a pile of their stuff leaning against it. My mother's quilt is folded up in the closet like it is something to be put away and forgotten. I sit in that rocking chair and I breathe and I think, I think very carefully, because Tanya made a mistake that a lot of people make with me. She saw that I was quiet. She saw that I kept the peace. She saw that I smiled and bit my tongue, and let things go, and she decided that meant I was someone she could walk over. She confused my patience with weakness, and that is a serious miscalculation to make about a woman who spent 31 years making hard decisions alone in hospital hallways at 3 in the morning. I know how to be calm under pressure. I know how to think clearly when I am upset. And I know that some situations do not call for a conversation. They call for a decision. I call my friend Patricia that morning. Patricia, as a lawyer, has been my friend since Marcus was in middle school. And when I tell her what happened, she does not hesitate for a single second. She says, "Betty Jean, this is your property, your name is the only name on that deed, they have zero legal standing and you can have them out." I already knew that, but I needed to hear it said out loud by someone who knows the law. Then I call my neighbor Dale, who has a truck and who has known me for 15 years, and I ask him if he can come over. He is at my door within the hour. I go to my master bedroom where Tanya is arranging her shoes in my closet, and I say, "Tanya, I need you and Marcus in the living room right now." She rolled her eyes and said, "Betty Jean, please," and I say, "I am not asking." When we are all three sitting down, I look at both of them and I say, "I want you out of my house in 30 days. Marcus looks at me like he cannot believe what he is hearing. Tanya starts to say something and I hold up my hand and I say, "Let me finish." I say, "This house has my name on the deed and only my name." I say, "What happened last night was not a misunderstanding, and it was not a favor, and it was not an improvement. It was a violation of my space and my dignity inside my own home, and I will not live like that. I say I love you, Marcus, and that will never change, but I will not be treated this way, and I will not be made invisible in the house I spent 31 years working to own." 30 days. And on day 31 the locks get changed. Tanya says I am being dramatic. She says she was just trying to make things work better for everyone. And I look at her very steady and very calm and I say, "You walked into my bedroom while I was sleeping and moved my belongings and installed yourself in my room without my knowledge or my permission. That is not making things work better. That is showing me exactly who you are. And now I am showing you exactly who I am." Marcus came to talk to me privately later that afternoon. I let him talk. I listened to everything he said. And when he finished, I said, "Son, I love you and my home will always be open to you, but not like this. Not with someone who does not see me as a person worth respecting in my own house." He did not say much after that. They are looking for apartments now. Marcus told me a few days ago they have a couple of options they are considering. Tanya barely speaks to me, and I will be honest with you, the quiet is a relief. The absolute relief of not waiting for the next comment, the next dig, the next intrusion. My dresser is back in my bedroom. My rocking chair is back where it belongs. My mother's quilt is back on the foot of my bed, and every morning I wake up and I look at my own things in my own room and I feel like myself again. I feel like Betty Jean again. I do not share this with you to paint Marcus as a bad person. He is my son, and I know he is caught between two people he loves, and I know he is going to have to sit with some of the choices he made. But I share this because I know there are women out there right now who are doing exactly what I was doing. Staying quiet. Keeping the peace. Letting things go because they do not want to be difficult or dramatic or ungrateful. And I want to say to those women, there is a line. There is a real line, and when someone crosses it, you are not only allowed to respond, you are required to. You are allowed to stand in the middle of your own life and say, "No, not here, not to me, not anymore." Kindness is not the same as being a doormat. Patience is not the same thing as permission. And being a mother does not mean handing over everything you built so someone else can be comfortable in it. This is my house. I built this life. And I sleep very well in my own bedroom every single night. Now I want to hear from you. Tell me where you are from and drop your city right there in the comments below. And if you love your grandma and you believe she deserves to be respected in her own home, then please like this video, subscribe to this channel, and share it with your friends because somebody out there needs to hear this today. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one.